So by the fourth iteration, I went into the bedroom, tried it on, I came out and I almost collapsed. And Richard said, we don't want to kill anyone.
Strap yourself in for Keeping It Real with Jac Ral.
Welcome back, Keepers. This is another episode of Keeping It Real with Jac and Ral. I am Gabrielle Dolan.
And I am Jack Phillips, and I've got a question for you.
Ask away.
Am I your bit on the side?
You are my bit on the side. My fluff. Is it fluff on the side?
Pookie?
My pookie. You
So
are
what's this
my
episode?
side hustle. Now, this episode is about side hustles. Now, if you're thinking, what the hell is a side hustle? That term, I guess, is being used a lot more, and it is. And so we're going to unpack what a side hustle is, what some of them have been, why would you even consider it, if you are considering it, what to do about it, because you had a side hustle when you were working in corporate all those years.
In corporate in Singapore,
You
and
want to
that
tell
was like
us what
25 years ago.
Yeah, 25 years ago.
25 years ago.
Okay, so tell us about your little side
I
hustle.
started young. So, moved to Singapore, ate a lot, drank a lot. Richard
Nothing's
comes
changed.
home and says, nothing's changed. We're off to a ball. We're off to the Australian ball in Singapore. I went, oh, can't wait. Went to try on a frock. Ooh, Jack's a little bit fat. And I said, that's okay. I'll just go and get some Nancy Gants. Have you heard of Nancy Gants?
Yeah.
So Nancy Gants back in the day, and I think it's a brand that still exists today, was, underwear that sucked you in. Sculpt wear. But it wasn't the stuff my mother wore, girdle-like. It was a bit sort of contemporary and cool. So I'm in Singapore, the shopping mecca of Southeast Asia. There's no Nancy Gants. The only thing I can find is girdles like what my mother wore. So I went home and I said to Richard, I can't find any. I'm going to have to get some flown in, shipped in, because I can't go to this ball and wear this frock.
Did you think you were wrapping yourself in Glad wrap or something?
I did think of that. I didn't think of stopping eating or drinking because I was having such a lovely time in Singapore. But then I thought, well, I can't be the only fat one here that needs this. So why don't I create my own brand? And I had a corporate role at the time. You'll laugh about this. And it was working for IBM. And it was during a hiring freeze and during SARS, which was a thing back in the day, which meant I had two roles, not one.
Right.
And I still managed to come up with an idea, come up with a brand name called Cheekwear, Cheekwear. We'll find a manufacturer in China and create something that I had never ever done before to solve a problem. And we ended up selling it in department stores in Singapore. And I also started learning about e-commerce because back then I wanted to sell it online, and I sold it back in Australia as well. It never made me the millions I thought it would. In the end, Richard had to sort of look after it for me. He was not into selling women's underwear. He sort of wasn't as passionate about it as I was, so it ended up just sort of falling away.
But that's okay.
But it was a mini MBA in learning how to create a brand, how to market a brand, how to manufacture, the stuff I learned. And I loved it. And despite having two jobs in corporate at the same time, I came home, I would do stuff with the kids, I would then keep working on Cheekwear. Every moment I could find, I would work on this brand because it was mine, and this side hustle became such a passion project. So I highly encourage people
How long did it go
to have
for?
a side
How many?
hustle for. Oh, years.
Yeah.
I mean, I've still got the email address.
Okay.
I've still got some.
Still got some cheekwear.
I wear it. I still wear it. There would be people out there, women out there. Well, there weren't just women buying it either, I might add. That's a whole nother story. So it went, maybe 15 years. So amazing.
Yeah,
so what is a side hustle, I hear you ask?
It
is any work or project you do outside of your main job, And it might be to earn extra income, pursue a passion, or develop new skills. It can range from freelancing and consulting to starting a small business, investing, or even creating digital content. So the whole idea is it is something you do on the side. It doesn't occupy your main time, and it's often something you do as well as.
Yeah. And it could be, I assume, like yours, it could have nothing to do with what your job was.
Correct.
Even though you were in business and in marketing, so you were pulling on all these expertise, and it probably gave you first-hand experience from a small business.
It did.
Or it could be something that is related to your job, or like semi-related somehow.
Correct. So whether your side hustle could turn into a multi-million or even billion-dollar company or not, the fact is you will be a different person from doing it. Now, you've got side hustles.
Yeah.
When you think about it.
Well, I guess
Think about your main sort of way
you actually asked me before, did I ever have a side hustle? And I went, no. And you went, really? Now that I'm thinking about it, when I was still working at NAB, and because the last few years I'd had the kids and I was sort of coming back and it was a bit part-time, I did start coaching. So I actually created a company, Jac Ral Consulting, which is still my company name
today.
And I started coaching people.
So why did you do that?
That's a very good question. The reason I did that is I thought in my head, I thought this could be my future job.
Yeah.
So it was setting it up, maybe a bit of a test, did I like it? But, you know, we've talked about before that, you know, if you're employed by someone else,
you aren't in control.
No control.
Correct.
So it was like if
transaction.
something, and, you know, we both worked at banks that would go through restructures, you know, every 2 seconds.
Minutes. Yep.
That if that happened, this would be something I could fall back on. And because I was in a great opportunity where I was working part-time and when I say part-time, controlled my hours, I could work as long or as little as I liked. I started doing this. And I do, when I work with people now around thought leadership, what do you want to be known for? A lot of them, some of them have already left corporate or whatever and going out on their own, but a lot of them are going, I think in the future I might want to go out on my own. And so they're developing their thought leadership around what they're currently doing. And to me, the cool thing about a side hustle is it may go somewhere and it may not. But even if it doesn't go...
You will be a different person.
If I'm working with leaders that go, I want to go out on my own and run my own company around risk, right? So, and that, you know, my ideal would be on boards as a risk director or working with clients on their risk strategy, but their current role is head of risk.
Correct.
Start putting stuff out there. You said putting content, digital content, doing a podcast, writing articles,
build your expertise and thought leadership.
Your profile right in the moment. It's helping probably your company right in the moment, and it may lead to what you want.
Something else. Absolutely, Ral. Those are really great points. And when I think about, so why would a side hustle be popular? Because they offer so much. Potentially extra income, so some financial security, definitely career growth. You will learn from whatever you're doing, whether it's aligned to your full-time corporate role or not, you will absolutely develop skills and you'll explore things of interest that may not fit into your day job, that may be something you're passionate about. And usually if you're passionate about something, you become good at it because you're really interested in it, right?
Yeah. And I think that's the key. You got to be passionate about it because it may not go anywhere, but it might be fun. And also if you're passionate, you're interested. You'll
find the time.
You'll do stuff.
Well, this is what my clients say. They say, but you know, I work full time. I've got kids. I'm busy. I'm trying to stay fit and healthy. And you want me to, you know, come up with a side hustle? And I sort of say, well, I don't want you to come up with a side hustle, but you're mentioning to me you're interested in something, and it could lead to something. It's amazing how you will find the energy to actually apply to this after the kids are in bed, at the end of a long day. This was me. I had 2 roles at IBM during a hiring freeze, you know,
and 2 kids.
In 2 kids. Look, I did have help in the house. In Singapore, you can have domestic help in the house. God, wasn't she a lifesaver? Should have brought her back and left Richard there. No, that's not true. He is quite helpful too. And he was a bit useful at the time as well. But my point is, no matter, I would be re-energised. I wouldn't be that tired when normally I would be tired. So you'll be amazed. Yep. I coach a lot of people. You know that. I reckon at least 50% of the people I coach, when I push a bit, when I tease a bit, if they don't bring this to me first up, they've always got an idea in the back of their mind, or they've already started a little something, they've registered a little company or a brand name. People are thinking about this more and more and more. And what it does is it gives you an opportunity to continue earning income should your existing job be taken away from you, which we know it can be. So creative fulfillment, career growth, financial security, flexibility and independence, all of those things are what you get from a side hustle. I'm going to ask you a question.
I get nervous when you ask
No, you're a smart girl. That's why you have a
about.
podcast with me. So I have full confidence you're going to answer this. A couple of very big, well-known brands today, some of the biggest brands in the world, started off as side hustles. Do you want to name a couple? Have a crack. I reckon you know them. You like some of their products? Or one of them?
Spotify.
Correct.
Oh, did really? I was
Spotify
just
started as did Shopify.
Oh,
Both were side
okay.
hustles.
I
What
just said
else?
Spotify because we were talking about
Yeah,
podcasts last week.
Spotify was.
Okay, but
Spotify
tell me,
was.
no, wasn't the juice? You know the woman, the Boost Juice. I think
Janine
that might have
Ellis.
started.
Yeah, it's a bit of a side hustle. Yeah, I think she
Maybe.
did too.
I
I
don't
think
know.
she did too. We were talking about her before, Keelan. Yeah, I think it did because she wanted healthier beverages and recognised there wasn't anywhere to
Yeah, or
get
maybe
those.
that's just starting. Yeah, I don't know if it was a side hustle. She could have just started because of that passion.
So Apple, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak started building
as a
computers
side
in a
hustle.
garage while Jobs was working at Atari in gaming.
Right.
Yeah, their side project became one of the most valuable companies in the world. Go figure. Netflix. Before that became a streaming giant. Netflix was a DVD rental by mail side project started by Reed Hastings and Mark Randolph, and that was while Hastings was still running another business.
Right.
Airbnb. You know, everyone knows the story of Airbnb.
Yes. Yeah.
Design conference in San Fran, not enough rooms in hotels. Two guys, Brian Chesky, Joe Gebbia, rented out an air mattress in their apartment because they needed to make a little bit of money on the side while they were coming up with the big idea.
And the rest is history.
The rest is history.
So
Twitter.
Twitter was a side hustle.
Jack Dorsey developed Twitter, and a few others were with him while he was working within a podcasting company called Odeo.
Right.
That's Shopify. The two founders originally built Shopify to sell snowboarding gear online. Then they realised that their e-com software that they'd built was more valuable than the actual store itself. So these side hustles can become massively successful. However, they don't all, and they don't have to, particularly, you know, people like you and I just want to have a little bit of fun on the side. Our podcast, I suppose, is a bit of a side hustle.
Yeah.
Right? We find time. It's a Sunday and we're recording today.
Yeah.
For our Monday episode.
Yeah, because we're passionate.
Passionate. We love it. It doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think too, see a lot of influencers at the moment. I would imagine the vast majority of influencers, that started as a side hustle.
Yeah.
And then it got so successful
Correct.
and profitable that
Correct.
they went, well, this is now my job.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can think of one young female influencer I know studying, working part-time and gets brand deals as a content creator.
Yeah.
So she's already got a portfolio career at the grand age of 21.
Yeah.
But one of those is a bit of a side hustle.
Yeah.
And she's seeing where that's going to take her.
Yeah. I saw something a few weeks ago. There was a young woman, probably, I don't know, 22, 23, 24, had just started doing her, being an influencer while she was studying.
Yeah.
I think she was doing a law degree.
Yes.
And her channel or her influence, whatever they call them, got so successful and brought in so much money that she's finished the degree. She finished the degree, but is never going to work as a lawyer because this is now her passion and is making more money than she could have.
Could have, absolutely. And this is how technology is taking us into all sorts of opportunities and broadening and levelling the playing field a bit. Males and females. Females can have a real crack at this stuff.
Absolutely. The barriers to entry
are low.
The barriers to entry is so low.
Very, very low.
You look at your cheekware company. I mean, it wasn't
took.
super high, but it was pretty.
What that took.
I'd imagine there was a huge amount of investment getting all the product ready.
Totally.
Some of these side hustles, especially if it's digital content you're producing, the entry to barriers to entry is
low.
So low.
So low.
So low. And you can just give it a crack.
You can give it a crack. So like Apple, like Netflix, like Airbnb, Twitter, Shopify, Spotify, they all started as experiments, right? Passion projects or small little income streams before growing into something massive. Proof that a side hustle can be the first step towards something much bigger.
Yeah.
The learnings I took from cheekware and creating cheekware, the confidence it gave me. I was able to talk about starting a business, dealing with manufacturers. I met
Could you
people.
still breathe properly?
Well, funny you say that. I remember working with a manufacturer and I'd have to wait in the mail and she'd send me samples and I'd get these samples from China and I'd go into the bedroom and I'd try them on and there was one I kept saying, it's not sculpting enough. I need it to be really, I'm talking sculpting here, sucking me in. So by the fourth iteration, I went into the bedroom, tried it on, I came out and I almost collapsed. And Richard said, we don't want to kill anyone. So funny you say that, Ral, but this is all part of it, iterating, experimenting. And of course, she was Chinese and I was Australian, and and she didn't speak English. I mean, barely, and I certainly didn't speak any Mandarin or Chinese. And so trying to communicate, I mean, it taught me so much about business and about myself, but we were on the tipping point of e-com. So I learned a lot about e-commerce, and not surprisingly, I was working in technology anyway at IBM. But then when I went on to other roles in my corporate life, I felt really confident about technology and e-com.
Yeah,
And
cool.
Visa was all about e-com. So it was really interesting.
I saw a meme the other day, and it was this woman came out, and you could only see like the
Top
bottom,
half.
the
The
bottom
bottom.
half, and her friend's sitting down, and she goes, "Oh, do you like my new sculpting, underwear?" And she had
Underwear.
this like super flat stomach.
Yeah.
She goes, "But I'm just, I get concerned because it's got to push all the. It's
gotta go somewhere."
And then it came up to her head. And it was like Jabba the Hutt, and it was just these rolls and rolls and rolls of skin. And she goes, "It's got to go somewhere, but I don't know where it goes." And her friend just looks at her and goes, "So are you going to wear a turtleneck?" It's very funny.
Yes, well, I
Very
totally
funny.
relate to all of that. So, a side hustle. We encourage you to think about, if you don't already have one, starting one.
Yeah.
I think it's a great thing to do. Again, it can give you some confidence and some control.
Yep.
These side hustles can go a long way, or they may not go anywhere. But if you are learning something, and if it is building confidence, or it is helping you do your main job better, or it is inspiring you, then what a great thing.
I know.
What a great thing.
And I think it's like anything, if it's solving a little problem or what
I want to inspire people.
I often, when people say something, I go, "God, that's a side hustle.
That's
You should do
that's
that."
an idea.
The other, my daughter Alex she understands politics, and she can explain it. Sometimes I go, "Just give me the short
Elevator
version or
pitch.
whatever." She can explain what's happening in politics, whether it be Australia or America or around the world, literally global, in a way that helps people understand. And I said to her, she could do a podcast on that. Like, could do a podcast on it. And
no idea Alex did
she did a uni degree in politics.
No, but she's got a skill
She's
there,
got
that
a way
ability to
explain
communicate.
it. She was, even for her birthday last year, she made us all watch The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. And then we're doing,
I love how complex
and she
Alex
literally was watch it and then stop it and then do running
Debrief.
And I said to her, you could become
This is a thing.
that could be a podcast where people write into that show. Like,
Want to unpack it and understand it.
Watch it and then explain it. And she goes, "Oh,
Toolbox.
yeah, a few people have told me that."
Yeah.
But I think, like,
That's a side
could you
hustle.
imagine, like, a young 24-year-old woman explaining
Either politics.
like we're rolling into Australia into an election.
We are.
That, I reckon that
I
would be
would think it would
massive.
take off. So there's an
Anyway.
idea.
Alex, if you listen to my pod, she doesn't listen to the podcast episodes.
None of our, I think
Anthony does, her partner, Anthony.
none of our family do, because they're sick of hearing
No,
us,
Anthony.
let alone on a podcast.
Anthony wins my favourite son-in-law at the moment.
No, he's not a son-in-law yet.
Because he listens to it. So, Anthony, if you're listening to this, say,
Tell Alex,
you need
start
to
a side hustle.
listen to your mum.
Hey, what you've just made me think about is our kids have great ideas. Your daughters have got great ideas. My kids are talking about ideas all the time. Louis is certainly implementing a number of them. If you're a keeper and you've got young adult children or even teenagers, encourage them with some of their ideas to have a crack, because the kids know, they're right onto it. So if I had to give you 3 tips
Yes,
on a side hustle, on creating a side hustle, or maybe you've got an idea or even have a side hustle but you're not doing much with it. They don't have to be massive ideas at first. They just need consistency, the right audience, and there's probably a bit of luck in there, okay? So don't rule out what could be a side hustle, or if you've already got one, don't rule out continuing it, okay? I want you to focus on this. You don't need a groundbreaking idea sometimes. What you're just talking about is a great suggestion. Solving a simple problem for the right audience, e.g. body sculpting underwear, is enough to build something big. Your side hustle doesn't have to be flashy if it makes life easier for people, if it has potential. The idea is just give it a crack, have a go.
Yeah, and I think don't be caught up with, but will
It
that
won't
make
work.
money or whatever, and people will start giving you business. Well, how are you going to make money out of it? Like, well, yeah, you may not, but
Correct.
if you're passionate about it, by default you'll be learning new stuff, right?
And what price? I mean,
Yeah.
that is awesome. There's an investment
Give it
straight
a go.
away. So many side hustles evolve into something much bigger than their original idea. So never give up on that. Stay open to the shifts in your business model. So where it starts and where it ends up can be very different.
Yep.
Go with it. And we're going to talk about creativity in another podcast. And I think it's so important just to recognise it's okay for things to evolve.
Yeah.
So that's it. Side hustles.
Yeah. Hey, talking about side hustles, you know, we haven't mentioned Fiji. So
that is a side
a little
hustle.
bit of a side hustle. I'm not sure if you've listened
really
to our
clever.
previous episode, but Jack and I are running a 3-day immersion live
Finders
in Fiji
keepers.
in June. We called it Finders Keepers because one of our
Great name.
keepers suggested
Ral
that.
came up with that.
5th to the 7th in June. It's going to be in Fiji at the amazing Sofitel Resort.
Which is stunning.
What we're going to do, we're going to be running masterclasses. So we've got a masterclass on networking. So almost assessing your network. Is it right to set you up for the next, 1, 2, 3, 5 years?
Pretty important.
We're going to do stuff on personal branding. So again, your brand is really important. It's whether people buy from you or hire you or work with you.
And what's the line? If you don't create a personal brand?
Yeah, someone else is. You've all
judging
got
you.
one. Take control of it. We're going to do another great session on executive presence.
Can't wait
So
for that
how do you, when you walk in a room, like confidence and gravitas and,
Communication.
when we can all do a little bit more of that. We're going to do a
Coaching.
we're going to have
And
coaching
mentor walks.
and mentor walk. So every morning we're going to do a mentor walk. So walk
fun.
with us. Jack walks really fast, just putting it out there. Me, not so fast.
I'll say that.
But, there's going to be coaching moments throughout because we're
Yeah.
spending 3 days together, right? So whether it's over breakfast or lunch or a cocktail, there's all those
good
coaching moments.
cocktails.
We're going to do a bonus session on called
Water
Water
You
You Carry.
Carry. I
So
love
that's
that.
about all where you place your energy and time and stuff like that. So that's going to be cool. The coolest thing, I think, is we are only taking 20 people.
Yeah,
so
and we've
this
already
is
got half.
Yeah, so if you're keen,
They are rock stars, the people coming.
the people that come in, I mean,
Awesome keepers.
spending time with us, great, but this is also, building a cohort, a tribe, whatever you want, that you can build real connections with, that you'll stay in contact with. We've got people
Support
from
each other.
corporate, we've got people from government, we've got people running their own businesses.
Self-employed, entrepreneurs, creatives. The other thing, this is men and women.
Yes.
So if you want to bring your husband or you want to bring your wife,
Yeah. So
your boyfriend, I mean, your family, seriously, there's no, it doesn't just have to be women. And we've got some men. I mean, it's going to be awesome.
So we've got
Really
some we've got some couples like both professionals that are coming and doing it together. Or if you just want to do it yourself, but you want to bring your other partner just to
look after the kids.
stand by the pool while you work.
While you learn.
That's good.
Get inspired.
But you let us know in the comments, direct messages, send us something on LinkedIn, or you'll find a way if you want to go. That's part of the aptitude test. You find a way to contact us.
I love it. Now, there's a side hustle.
There's a side hustle.
Immersions in Fiji. Come and join us.
Yeah. So as usual, keepers, if you've liked this, give us a rating, share with your friends, find people to come along with you to Fiji. And
Set up your side hustle.
Yeah, just do it. Do we speak to you next week? Bye for now.
You've been listening to another episode of Keeping It Real with Jac and Ral. If you like what you've heard, don't forget to tell others about it and give a 5-star review. They may seem confident, but they really are sensitive 5-star needy souls. Yeah, right. Keeping It Real, created by Jack Phillips and Gabriel Dolan. Produced by Keelan Ferrari Brown. And this really real voiceover, spoken by Richard Phillips.